Hello, Internet! Welcome to Food Theory, and welcome to the North Carolina State Fair. Now, the State Fair is a tradition all across America, and what is even more iconic than the State Fair is actually the food that you find at the State Fair. Now, there's multiple members of Team Theorists that have never been to a State Fair before, especially this guy right here, Food Theory Creative Director Santi.
Hello.
Santi, why have you never been to a state fair? What are you doing with your life?
Well, so I grew up overseas, and I didn't grow up somewhere that had states. I grew up on a small island, so.
It is hard to have a state fair when you don't have states. That is very true. So today we're subjecting Santi to his first ever state fair, and what better introduction to all wonderful things fair than subjecting him to some of the strangest, scariest foods that the fair has to offer. I hold in my hand deep-fried peanut butter pickles topped with powdered sugar and chocolate sauce. And that is just one of 20 different foods that we're gonna get through by the end of the day today. Our goal, our mission, is to scientifically calculate the single best, scary, weird, fair food that you can get in your local area. How you feel about that, Santi?
Honestly, I'm terrified, especially now seeing all the different foods that we have around us that we're gonna be trying. I don't know how any of these flavors will work.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in trying them and then seeing why these things might actually work.
So that, my friends, is our goal today. What is the scientifically best fair food for your dollar when you come to the state fair? So wish us luck. I think we have 5 other foods waiting for us at the picnic table over there that the rest of Team Theorists has gathered for round number 1. It's gonna be a weird, interesting breakfast, let me tell you.
For this gut-punching experience, we tested 15 different iconic dishes, starting with round 1 here in a minute. But obviously, we didn't just dive into this one willy-nilly, eating things like Kirby on vacation. No, we had ourselves a rubric by which we were gonna measure every food to determine the scientifically best one. First and foremost, flavor. This one's pretty obvious, but it's not just about whether it tastes good. There are some foods that are so extreme and so out there that you can only get them at the fair. Extra mega bonus points for any times that you were able to merge flavors together that didn't seem like they should go together at all. Second criteria, portability. Am I gonna be able to eat this while I'm walking around at the fair? And finally, the third part of the formula, barfability. How badly is this gonna make us wanna throw up when we hit the spinny, whirly, twirly rides? It is a fair after all, and if you're not going on the pop-up roller coasters with questionable safety regulations, did you really go to the fair in the first place? So, without any further ado, let's just dive into round 1, or in other words, our breakfast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, breakfast is served. We've got whatever this thing is supposed to be.
This is rattlesnake topped with a venom sauce. Whatever that green thing is apparently the venom of the rattlesnake we're gonna be eating.
Is it really the venom, or is that just a branding thing?
I hope to everything that it's not.
The beauty of this episode is I've walked through state fairs for my entire life, and I've always been too scared to try a lot of these extreme foods. Because 1, they sound disgusting, but 2, they're also like expensive. So like, why would I pay for that when I can go, you know, buy like a chicken pita or a steak on a stick instead? So today, we're gonna try out all the things that I've always been too scared to try and see just how good they are. This is chicken?
It looks like it, but
does.
it's actually cookie dough. It's
They literally gave us like half the roll of cookie dough. Amazing.
That's dense too.
It has a hefty boy. And then finally, what's this? This looks like a corn dog, but it's clearly not.
Deep fried Snickers.
Oh, deep fried, that's like, I like that of everything in front of us. The deep fried Snickers is the thing that's like the least extreme. I like that this is also arranged like, oh, here's our appetizer of deep fried pickle, followed by the main course of sushi and rattlesnake, and then there's your dessert. So without any further ado, Santi, before this gets cold, really, I want to make sure that we dive into this quickly. Taste, how does it feel in your stomach, and is it gonna make you sick later? Okay.
Yeah.
No. 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 Even when she handed it to us, you could tell she was skeptical.
She also made sure not to take accountability for it. She's like, no, the owner made this. I just work here.
I asked her where this came from, because it feels like some sort of like pregnancy fever dream. So for taste, what are you getting it out of 10?
A 5.
Because it is the first thing of the day.
Yeah.
It is a solid 3 for me. Sorry, it's just not working. When it comes to portability, like can I walk around the fair with this?
This is a 1 right now.
Get on it! Get on it! I gotta say, this is a 7.
What? I'm not gonna be walking around the park.
Do you not know how to lick your face? How did you manhandle your pickle? And then lastly, how sick is this gonna make us when we're on a ride?
No,
how heavy is it in your stomach?
This is gonna be an 8 for me in heaviness. It has to be for now.
I was gonna say, this is probably a 6. I expect if I had more than just like a bite and a half, it would be probably closer to a 7 or 8. Maybe not the most auspicious start in terms of appetizer, but now, I love sushi. You love sushi?
I love sushi.
Let's take this old honker.
This is from Raleigh Restaurant Bulgogi. They have restaurants and food trucks outside of the fair, and they've already asked us to coat this in barbecue sauce, and then your assignment is to dip it in the aioli for every bite.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, just to pull back the curtain of this shoot, it is 9 a.m. He seems confused.
I am, but I like it.
Right, it's really good. Okay, as long as you like it. I think this is great. If I didn't know that I have 18 more foods to try of varying degrees of disgusting, I would eat this whole thing immediately. This is fantastic. It's on a stick, and not just a stick, a thematic chopstick. We went from a real low to a real high in terms of taste. What do you say?
I can't put anything at a 10 yet, but it is gonna be a 9 for me.
Right, I was gonna say, like, this is a 9. Portability.
It's on chopsticks, it's great, and it doesn't fall apart. That's the other thing, it's staying together as we bite into it. 10.
I'd say like 9 again.
Yeah.
Probably 10, but like, you know, this is about as good as you can get. So let's say 9. And then lastly, how sick is this gonna make you?
I would put this out of how sick it'll make me, like a 3.
We should get on the same page about this.
Yes.
So on the sickness scale, is low good or is high good? Because
Low is good, high is bad.
You do realize that by doing that, it's making it incredibly complicated. If 10 is good in 2 categories,
Fair
and
enough,
then 10 is
fair
not,
enough,
is
fine.
the worst.
So this would be a 7.
7!
Yes.
I
Okay,
agreed. I
fine.
agree.
We'll do that.
I would say, yeah, 7 passes the roller coaster test.
Yeah.
Really solid. This
Yeah.
is so good. Oh man! I'm already so hyped about this. We are already starting at such a high. This is fantastic. Now, let's move on to, I think, maybe the dark horse of round 1 here,
Oh, yeah.
which is the rattlesnake corn dog.
Spoiler alert, it was not the dark horse. It was fine, but it didn't really have the bite that I expected out of rattlesnake.
In terms of taste, I'd say maybe a 3.
I was gonna say a 2.
In terms of portability, easy win.
Corn dog.
I think that's, you know,
Yeah.
corn dog, it's on a stick. That's like probably solid 9, just like the sushi roll.
Yeah, I would give it a 9 as well.
And then in terms of making me sick, does it pass the roller coaster test?
I think it does solely on the principle of it being so mild.
Yeah, probably about like a 5.
I would give it a 6.
So with our appetizer and main course out of the way for breakfast, and reminder, this is just breakfast. There are still 15 more foods coming down the pipe and probably coming back up the pipe eventually. We've got ourselves dessert round 1. This is what I initially thought was chicken, but is in reality cookie dough covered in white chocolate with maple bacon. And oh boy, they did not skimp on proportions, let me tell you. The cloudy white goo just slowly blowing in the breeze really gives me a lot of confidence on this one. Oh no, you had me until you lost me. Let me take you on my little flavor journey here. I'm eating cookie dough, and it's publicly acceptable. This is great. It's like a snickerdoodle cookie dough. Delicious, wonderful. And then eventually, my teeth found the bacon, and all of a sudden, my delightful little romp through cookie dough land became an awkward, chewy, gummy, meaty moment, and all the joy and love that I had in my heart for this dish went out the window.
As soon as you bite into it, it's the same thing. I loved cookie dough. I was like, oh, okay. But then there are like white chocolate chips in there.
Yeah.
That mixed with the bacon in my mouth was just weird. And there's like a weird bitterness that the bacon gives it. No, none of this.
It is sticky, it is gooey, it is salty and meaty. It is none of the adjectives that you really want while walking around the fair. From a textural standpoint, not great. From a flavor standpoint, not great. If you have like a cookie dough on a stick option near you, just go with the cookie dough. Don't complicate it. This is one of those ones that I think falls into the trap of overcomplicating it for the sake of being like interesting or different.
Absolutely.
In terms of taste,
I'm gonna give it a 3.
I think I liked it a little bit more. I'd bump it up to a 5, but the bacon just brought it down. Portability.
So yes, it's on a stick, but I'm gonna give it a 2 because of how much, the bacon falls down. Look at that white chocolate sauce going all over your hands and the wind everywhere. You're gonna like slap people behind you with it. This is definitely gonna be a 2.
Yeah, this is a 2, because also the cookie dough isn't frozen enough or solid enough to hold its shape, and so it's like sliding all around the stick as I kind of go walk around. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with you, 2. And then lastly, how sick is this gonna make you?
Cookie dough already by itself can make you pretty sick. Gonna give this a 3.
I'm gonna say that's a 4 as well, just because it's lighter, but at the same time, the flavor is not gonna sit well once I'm up there.
Oh boy, we went downhill real fast there. To be honest, it didn't get much better with the deep fried Snickers bar that we tried last, even though that was an experience for Santi.
I don't know what to expect and I'm scared.
This is it. This is the dream. So
Shall I?
shove that dream in your mouth and take a big old bite.
Oh.
Dude, okay.
I don't want it. I don't like it. Snickers by themselves are already fairly chewy and sticky. But then with the corn dog or with the dough around it, the dough just falls away. Really, all I'm eating is Snickers with extra calories.
Welcome to the fair.
I'm gonna give it a 5, because like, you know, it's not bad, but it's also not mind-blowing, it's just Snickers.
In terms of taste, 5 right down the middle. There's nothing special about it, but there's also nothing like inherently bad about it. So I'd give that a 9 in terms of portability. And then last but certainly not least, is that gonna make you sick on a ride?
I would give this a 5 also.
Okay. I was gonna say this is probably a 7 for me just because it's a Snickers bar. It's not particularly big or heavy.
This one right here was the perfect example of how you can definitely have too much of a good thing. Snickers, great. Deep frying stuff, also great. But putting those two together just ruined the texture and flavor for us. What you're left with is just a Snickers bar with a whole lot of extra calories. And that was not what we were looking for at the beginning of a day where we're gonna consume 15 of the most caloric items that we've ever set our eyes to. So with round number 1 done, it was time to hit the first batch of rides to test that all-important barfability factor. But first, Santi and I had to go down a slide like the man-children that we are.
Oh my god, hold on. Oh my god, I'm gonna get caught.
Oh, and spoiler, it is all downhill for Santi after this ride, but you'll just have to keep watching for that one.
2 rides down, our stomachs are starting to feel a little iffy. This one should push it over the edge. Let's see. No cell phones allowed, but what is allowed is third-party camera crews that stand outside, so get a good close-up of the face. I have a very strong stomach, though.
I think after the second round of food is when we'll find some trouble.
The second round. We're a 4th of the way through. A 4th. This was Santi's idea, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Like he's like, oh, you have a state fair. I want to go to the state fair. Can we do that? I'm like, yeah.
Here's the thing. I know that I can't feel worse than I did after the energy drink GT Live that we did. The game that was one of the worst moments of my life.
Wow. You say that.
Yeah.
You say that.
It's too early in the day.
It is hour 1.5 at this point. And food 5.
At this point, I was feeling pretty darn good, but Santi, he was feeling a bit off balance. Oh, you sweet summer child. So with the first round of rides done, it was time to sit back down and have ourselves our much-needed snack.
So here we are, fresh off the rides, and how you feeling, Santi?
I'm feeling it, man. Just a little bit. Like now that we've had a little bit of time, oh boy.
Yeah, it's interesting. While I was on the ride, I wasn't feeling it, but now that I've had some time to settle off of the rides, I feel a bit uneasy down there, especially the pickle peanut butter. And I don't know how I can tell that that's the one that I feel, but something in my body is telling me like, oh, that's the one that's doing it right now. That was only the first 5. We got another 6 foods all lined up. Gonna wait for this tractor to go past, holding for tractor pull. Good luck, sir. Here we are, we got another 6 lined up. Again, broken down for our lunch here. We've got appetizer of hot Cheetos corn. We have a lot of donuts.
This is the donut round.
We have I'm noticing a lot of donuts here. We've got a donut burger. We've got just teeny donuts. What makes these guys special?
These are Texas Pete donuts. So slathered in Texas Pete sauce.
Okay, you're great. And we've got a deep fried pie. What is this, a deep fried pumpkin pie?
Fried pumpkin pie.
Deep fried pumpkin pie a la mode. Actually, we're gonna start with this one just because everything's melting right now. Spoiler alert about the deep fried pumpkin pie here. It tastes like a pie from McDonald's.
Yeah.
It's good.
I'm gonna give this a 7, and I'm not a sweets person. It's just very, very good for me.
I'd say also 7, solid. When it comes to portability, I think the results speak for themselves. That's gonna be like a 1.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
Practically a 0. And then lastly, is that gonna make me sick on our next round of rides coming up here?
So, I don't think so. So
Correct.
this will be a 9.
I would agree. I think that this is totally safe. I feel
Yeah.
good about this. Solid 9. All right, next up on round 2's reverse order, we got Texas Pete donuts. So spicy donuts. My palate is like the roller coaster we just rode.
Sickening.
Really?
Do you like this?
I don't hate it. Do I like it? Like is very strong. It's interesting. I'm not immediately disgusted by it. It goes from to huh to oh to ooh.
I'm gonna say it goes like, huh, to to Have you ever accidentally gotten any sort of like cleaning product in your mouth?
Yes.
This tastes like that taste to me.
I kind of like it. This is so far probably the biggest surprise. What say you, Santi, on the taste scale?
I'm gonna give this a 4.
Meanwhile, I disagree. I'm gonna give it a solid 7. From a portability standpoint,
I'll give this an 8.
yeah, it's not quite as seamless as a lot of the stick stuff that we saw in round 1, So I would agree. 8 feels about right for this one. And lastly, is this gonna make you throw up on a ride?
Absolutely. This is a 2 on that scale.
So that one I'm gonna go with maybe a 4.
It shouldn't come as much of a surprise to anyone that the so-called donut round, it was kind of hit or miss. Aside from Santi and I not agreeing on the Texas Pete donuts, the Krispy Kreme burger was also a surprising disappointment. The mac and cheese bacon sundae, meanwhile, yeah, you heard that one correctly, the mac and cheese bacon sundae.
Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy.
Well, we're gonna go with not good on that one. But we weren't gonna let this round go without a surprise contender.
Here, this one might be more up your speed. Santi tends to like himself some healthy food, so this is a fruit. It's a little pouch of water with a bunch of nerds. Look at me eating my fruit. This is my fruit portion for the day. It's like saying eating French fries is your vegetable. It's nice, it's light, it's packed with flavor. This is almost like an elevated version of like a gusher. This is phenomenal. Everyone's talking about launching humanity to the moon and things like that. No, this right here, solid win. Taste perspective, I kind of got to give that a 10.
10.
Portability,
Put it in your pocket, wherever you want.
you can put it in your pocket.
I'm gonna sneak out of here with those in my pocket.
And then lastly, is this gonna make me sick? No, actually, straight 10s across the board.
This is the yardstick by which everything else will be measured against.
I know that there's still more episode to go here and more analysis to be done. But man, if this episode is dedicated to figuring out what is the scientifically perfect fair food, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. That is round 2, ladies and gentlemen, which means that it is time for more rides and more fair excitement.
Oh, God.
You've got a giant pumpkin that you gotta go see.
What?
Oh, buddy, it is 2,000 pounds and it's gonna blow your mind.
With our stomachs filled to the brim, it was time to push our limits once again on the tower drop and the gravitron. Needless to say, this right here was not doing Santi's stomach any favors. I was feeling pretty good. Santi, though?
Oh, no.
I guess no amount of refreshing candied grapes was gonna outweigh the mac and cheese bacon sundae. And in case it wasn't clear what substituted for the ice cream in that quote-unquote sundae, potato, barely cooked potato. Not gonna lie, it's pretty funny how much he was struggling here because this was an episode that he himself pitched. But anyway, with that conclusion, we were able to find a nice quiet spot for our final round of food.
Second round of rides, a bit rougher for Santi.
That was not good.
You were this close. I was watching you. You were doubled over in pain. It was so much fun for me just to ride the ride, but it was made extra special by getting to watch you utterly hate every minute of it. While we were out, the rest of the team was out scavenging the remainder of the fair and were able to scrounge up 4 other odd, interesting foods. We've got ourselves this beauty right here, the dill pickle donut, because pickles so far have been working so well. We've got a turkey leg that is the entirety of a Thanksgiving meal all in one package. This is a mystery rod, chicken, bacon, ranch, waffle on a stick. If you couldn't have any more adjectives in there, it's great. And then last, but in this case we're gonna start with, this is the Big Mac egg roll. I did not expect it to be just a big old pocket of meat.
The most normal thing we've had today so far.
Yeah, 6.5, 7, I think is about right. Next up, portability.
I mean, it's easy to walk around. It's a little greasy, I guess, but I mean, it's not gonna fall apart on you at all. It's very compact. I'm gonna give it a 9.
Yeah, and lastly, is that gonna make you sick on a ride?
Probably.
Yeah?
I mean, I may be feeling the nausea from before, but I definitely think this wouldn't help.
This is, again, one of those like classic fair foods where it's fried, it's heavy, it's full of flavor, but it's also gonna be sitting in your stomach for a while.
I'm gonna give it a very low 3. 2.
I would say it's not that bad. I would say this is probably gonna be like a 4.5, 4 to 5 right there. So across the board, solid. Don't recommend riding a whole lot of stuff afterward. Next up, we got chicken waffle on a stick, covered with bacon and ranch sauce.
Oh yes.
I am hopeful about this.
Me too.
Let's see.
Doing a little dance.
Oh man, Santi likes it so much he's dancing.
Savory wise, I think this has been my favorite so far. I'm gonna give it a 9.
This is a flavor combination all in one stick that is risky, and this is either a big win or a big loss, and this is a big win. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 9 there. Portability.
I'll give it a 6, because you're losing a lot of bacon as you're going around. It is
Yeah.
on a stick. I'll give it a 6, 6.5.
I would agree. You're losing a lot of the special bacon on top, so 6.5 makes sense. Lastly, are you gonna be passing the roller coaster test?
I would give this like a 7, because it isn't the lightest thing, but it's definitely not gonna make you throw up. It feels like a compact meal, like it's perfect.
Yeah, Agreed.
2 solid starts.
Right?
Yeah.
Not bad. I do like the fact that we selected this very quiet corner of the fair. There's a little lighthouse behind us and stuff. It's very romantic.
Look at us.
Enjoy
Who
your
would have
special
thought?
time, boys.
Before we dip into this one, Santi, I think it would be nice if we just took a minute to say something that we're thankful for.
I'm thankful for you, for bringing me along to my first state fair. This was a very unforgettable experience, for better or for worse.
I'm thankful to share this experience with the whole team here. This is so nice.
No, yeah, fine, everybody else. I thought it was a you and me thing here.
I am VOPNG YouTuber Matpat. I don't go out in public and do this, but it's nice. It's nice to be able to hang out with the team.
So, my question to you.
So anyway.
Forget about them, that's enough of them. Should we use the fork? Oh, yeah. Oh no! I'm gonna.
Oh.
Go.
I guess I'll follow Santi's lead and eat it in the worst way possible.
Yeah, there you go. Like a Greek god just being fed grapes. Tell me that's that delicious.
It is delicious.
So there was very little risk taking in the flavors. Wow. But because of that, it is the most cohesive thing that we've had today.
Yeah.
Everything just works together really well.
I think that's a fair statement. Yeah, it is the single most cohesive, broadest item that we've had, but we know it's a tried and true formula that's absolutely gonna work.
Right.
So in terms of taste.
Oh man, this is really good. I think this will be my second 10 of the day.
Wow,
Yeah.
second 10.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's really solid. I mean, it's Thanksgiving dinner at the fair, right? So I would say 9. It's not quite there, whereas the grapes surprised me, which I give a little bonus point to. But I mean, definitely top tier, super solid.
Yeah.
When it comes to portability, you know, we've already alluded to it, 0. Even if you wanted to lift it up by the bone, it's falling apart. This thing is a mess.
Yeah.
This is one of those dishes that requires you to find like the one lone picnic table that was just abandoned by someone, or a nice quiet spot by the lake with your best co-worker, friend, co-host. Neutral bro fist.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. And lastly, is this one gonna be up-chucking on the Gravitron?
As long as you're not eating the whole thing, I think this would be like a 9.
Yeah.
This would pass.
Our final item of the day, at least that we're trying on camera, this dill pickle donut. Here we go. One last one for the road.
Okay. That's not a donut.
I need to lay back and think about this for a second. This is not nearly as bad as you'd think it is. To me, the donut is fantastic.
Yeah.
Actually, the texture of it is so nice. The flavor of it is not overwhelming at all. It's just a very pleasant sweet bread. Yeah. So across the board, dill pickle donut, shocking.
Yeah.
Shockingly good. So when it comes to taste,
I'm just eating it from the bottom. It's so good. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna give this an 8.
Yeah, I think I gotta dock it a little bit for the top, which isn't doing anything for me, so I'm gonna knock it down to a 7. But still, solid performer, and I love the donut. Portability.
I mean, you gotta give it a 10. Like, it doesn't fall apart. It all sticks together. You can eat it with one hand. It's not falling over itself.
I'm gonna say, yeah, I would actually agree with 10. There's no stickiness to it. There's no greasiness to it. It is all super well held together. It's nice, compact, tight, really solid. Lastly, when it comes to the roller coaster test, am I puking this one up?
Absolutely not. I'm gonna give this a 10.
Yeah, this is absorbing everything in your stomach right now. This is literally a sponge for all the grease that I have from that Big Mac egg roll and everything else that we've had today. Like, this is a beautiful sponge that's really kind of neutralizing everything that came before. That really kind of brings us to the end of our fair experience. I went into this episode excited, but also like knowing that this was gonna be gross. But I think what this has shown me is that it pays to try new things, because at the end of the day, you might discover a new flavor profile, unlike anything you've ever had before, and some that you might just like, might be a newfound favorite. But hey, that's just a theory, a food theory. Bon appetit.
Oh, it's so cute. But we also said goodbye too early because we still have to dive in and decide which fair foods are gonna come out on top. Now, we ate our way through too many dishes here to look at them individually, and some were obviously better than others, so we're just gonna be taking a look at our top 3 contenders in the flavor and barfability categories. The sushi on a stick from round 1, the candied grapes from round 2, and the Thanksgiving turkey leg from round 3. Although the turkey leg got itself the impressively bad and only 0 in the portability category in the entire competition, the strong showing going in the other two categories catapulted it to the top over the likes of a donut burger, donuts with hot sauce, and literal venomous snake. To start off with our round 1 winner by a large peanut butter marred margin, the sushi roll. This deep-fried barbecue-coated Spam roll was the highlight of my breakfast. A sentence I hope I don't have to repeat anytime before I die. Flavor-wise, it was firing on all cylinders, and we may have been a bit biased considering the weak start that we had right before, but it was really something that everyone here enjoyed. So why then is this one not our clear-cut winner? Well, sure, rice and meat are fairly good for the stomach on the surface, and tempura batter is a better alternative than most other deep-fried batter since it uses less oil. Unfortunately, the dish, it was still fried, and fried foods are heavy in your stomach, and then you coat that with barbecue sauce. It is a recipe for upchucking disaster. The high amount of fat in the deep frying process slows down the stomach, making you feel bloated and even nauseous, especially when you're on rides with questionable safety mechanisms. And then couple that with the high sugar content of the barbecue sauce, which can also lead to increased gas production and bloating, and suddenly the healthy components of this dish are canceled out. The other reason why this early favorite comes up a little bit short is because of the spicy mayo. Hot sauce is a stomach irritant, and mayonnaise is, once again, high in fat, putting the final nail in this delicious coffin. Which leads us then to round 2's winner, the candied grapes. Now, despite candied grapes being far and away one of our favorite flavor and textures of the day, unfortunately science doesn't agree with us when it comes to crowning these bad boys the fairest of them all. At first glance, grapes seem harmless. Like I mentioned during the tasting, they're mainly water and packed with vitamins and minerals. They're also rich in fiber, so we assume that they wouldn't do anything to upset our stomachs and, if anything, would keep us regular as we strolled through the fair. Unfortunately, grapes are high in fructose, a natural sugar that causes gas, which sure seems like more of a problem for the people waiting in line behind you at the rides, but they also contain a lot of tannins. Tannins are naturally occurring chemicals that are found in a grape's skin, seeds, and stems, acting as a defense mechanism against animals and insects. Grapes and other plants have tannins which are quite bitter and deter things from eating the fruit or seeds before they're ripe. Now, if well balanced, tannins can give a pleasant complexity to a flavor, which is why teas, coffees, and wines all make good use of them. However, they're still a natural defense mechanism, and as such cause an excessive release of digestive enzymes in our bodies, which can not only give you nausea, but also diarrhea. I don't know about you, but worrying about barfing is bad enough at the fair. I don't need to think about it coming out the other end as well. Especially at the fair where the bathroom situation is sketchy at best. Either extremely packed or, God forbid, the porta potty. So for that reason, we were left with the Thanksgiving turkey leg. Now, don't get me wrong, this guy is not just the overall winner by default. You see, breaking the dish down into its 3 major components, the turkey, the sweet potato, and the cranberry sauce, we actually have ourselves a truly winning combination. Lean protein, like turkey, helps promote gut health because it helps to maintain a balance of good and bad bacteria in your stomach. Speaking of that stomach, digesting fat is a pretty big chore and can lead to that super full, pukey feeling that you get on rides. So keeping fat content down is going to be the name of the game if you want to avoid vomiting on your next tilt-a-whirl. Turkey happens to be one of the leanest protein choices you're going to get at the fair, so this is going to be one of the smartest choices that you can make, as long as you're avoiding the skin, which tends to have a lot more fat content. Sweet potatoes are arguably the most important element here. You see, part of the reason you get queasy on rides when you go up, down, and all around is because your body's adrenaline release actually causes increased gastric acid production. All that sloshing around and suddenly, well, you know, you get the picture. Carbs like sweet potatoes aid in soaking up that extra acid, keeping your gut balanced and everything inside. Sweet potatoes are also the double whammy of being a fast digesting carbohydrate, so it's less of a load on your vulnerable stomach. The final ingredient, the cranberry sauce, not normally the best choice because cranberries have themselves a fairly high acid content, but that same acid is going to help speed up the digestion of the turkey so that you don't feel overwhelmingly full by the time you strap in for the roller coaster. In total, that combination of all 3 of those components is what makes it the best fair food that you can possibly find. So there you have it, friends. We did it so you don't have to. We ventured into the unknown. We tried all the scariest fair foods, putting our stomachs through an adventure that we won't soon forget so that we could find the best fair food that'll keep you full and keep you from emptying it all out at once. The next time you find yourself in an amusement park or fair, skip right past the deep fried peanut butter pickle and opt for the giant Thanksgiving turkey leg. And for dessert, hop into some cotton candied grapes. But hey, if you noticed a stark difference between how well Santi and I handled the rides with all that food, it's probably because of today's sponsor, AG1. He's a little late to the game, but I make sure to drink AG1 every morning to help support my digestion and alleviate some of the bloating that I'm bound to feel from episodes like this one. Eating deep fried pickles with peanut butter, not great for my gut health, but AG1 helps to balance all that out. Humans may all have wildly different nutritional needs, but we all basically function off the same vitamins and minerals to get us through a day. That's where AG1 comes in, as a foundational nutritional supplement with a science-driven formulation of micronutrients, phytonutrients, and essential symbiotics that support brain health. Most importantly for days at the fair, gut health. You may know that I'm not much of a coffee drinker, but with AG1 every morning, I get the focus and energy that I need all day without the crash or gross flavor of burnt bean water. Plus, considering that at this point I'm ancient by YouTube age standards, doesn't can't really hurt that AG1 helps combat visible signs of aging. Health is all about consistency, and AG1 makes it effortless. All it takes is 1 scoop and 8 ounces of water every day. Simple as that. No deep frying, no donut buns, and most importantly, none of that cookie dough. So if you want to avoid hurling on a tilt-a-whirl, start developing healthy habits by heading on over to drinkag1.com/foodtheorists to get started on your first purchase. If you do, you'll receive a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 plus 5 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/FOODTHEORISTS to get started. Thanks again to AG1 for sponsoring today's video, and as always, I'll see you next week.